Hey guys, it's Angel. Guess what? You are watching my latest video. You get comfortable here. Today's video is going to be kind of, it's going to be really different, although I've talked about this subject before in a previous video, but in light of the recent events with Robbin Williams, I really kind of felt compelled to talk about the topic of depression and suicide. And so it's going to be kind of a serious video. If you don't feel like watching a serious video, then you might just not watch this one. I know that my cute little niece Lindsay watches my videos with my sister-in-law Laura, and so this one might be a little bit too adult for Lindsay to watch. It's going to be kind of on some serious topics, so just a little forewarning for Laura that this one might not be the best video for Lindsay. So, but tomorrow's video will be appropriate. Although I don't know what tomorrow's video is going to be about yet. But anyway, I don't want it to be too somber, although it is a really serious, somber topic. I have to say that I did a lot of work in the apartment yesterday, and then I got tired and laid down for a nap and woke up to the news about Robbin Williams' death. I woke up and just went to check Facebook, and it was just it was like blown up all over Facebook, and I was like, what? This can't be real, you know? And I hope I don't cry. I'm not promising that I won't cry when talking about this, because it's a subject that really hits home for me, and a lot of people very few people in my life know about my my struggles with this. Not even all of my family members know about my struggles, and I may be opening up too much. I know my husband will definitely say that I'm opening up too much, because he's very much, I'm gonna have to take this earring out because it keeps falling out today, sorry. My husband is very much a secret, not secret, just he doesn't really share his emotions, or like he's not really an open book, and my whole life have been an open book. I felt like that's the only way I know how to live my life, is to be an open book and to just lay myself out there to everyone, because I feel like that's the way I am authentic, is that my whole life, even from the time I was a little girl, if you didn't know me and we just met, if I didn't like you, you were going to know that I did not like you. If I did like you, you would know that as well. I have never been one to fake my emotions or to pretend, and it's just something that I can't do. And not that I was ever rude to anyone or mean to anyone like that. It's just that if I met you and we didn't click, you know, we just didn't click, and I didn't pretend that we did, you know. I just would sort of, you know, not really hang out in your circle. And so anyway, you know, that's just me. That's my personality. And so, so the past year and a half has really been a struggle to me, because I feel like I've had to hide a lot of myself, and hide it from a lot of the people that I really love, and people that care for me and that I care for, and people that probably could be, don't cry, people that could probably be a strength and a support to me, that I have felt like I have had to be really quiet about some of my struggles. And anyway, so when I woke up yesterday and I saw that Robbin Williams not only had passed, but that he had passed by his own doing, it just hit my heart so hard. It did because a year ago in October, I'm just going to put it out there. I just am. And I'm sorry, Chris, if you are unhappy with me for doing this, but I feel compelled that I have to do this. A year ago in October, I was hospitalized. I had, since I was a teenager, I had suicidal thoughts before, and I didn't really know how to handle them. I didn't know what to really make of them. I never really took them seriously. I would sort of have them on certain occasions, and I would never really make a plan, but I would always sort of like wish that I could be gone. And they would come and they would go, and there was nobody ever that I could really talk to about it, because I didn't want to ever first of all, I didn't really realize how serious they were. As a child, even as a teenager, you don't really realize how serious things like that are, because nobody really talks to you about that kind of stuff. I mean, you might have like, like an assembly or something at school where somebody will come and they will speak about it, and like you relate to that person for that hour or however long they speak to you about it, but then they leave your school and you go home and you eat dinner, and tomorrow is another day, and life goes on, and life goes on, and you just deal with things. And my moods had always been volatile, and I didn't really know, what that was. I didn't know what depression was. I didn't know what anxiety was. I know now that I suffered from severe panic disorder and anxiety and depression all through high school. I just didn't have a name for those things, and I didn't know that I could get help for those things. And I didn't, in fact, get help for those things until probably about, I would say, probably about 15 years ago is when I started getting help, started going to see psychiatrists and getting medication. And the only way that I received a diagnosis was after I had a major surgery. I had a major surgery. I had been diagnosed with a liver tumor when my son was about 5 years old, and was lucky enough that the tumor was not cancerous, but the surgery was really major. And recovering from the surgery, I went into a deep depression and didn't realize it, and went back to the doctor saying, I don't know what's wrong with me. I can't get out of bed. I have no energy. I can't take care of my son. And he took one look at me and he said, you're suffering from major depression. And he put me on medication. And from then on, I got into counseling and got on medication, and that sort of started my education as far as what I was going through. But to kind of, that's just kind of a little bit of history of how I finally was diagnosed with that. But so I'd always kind of had these thoughts, and since my teen years, and even all through like right after I had my son, I dealt with postpartum depression. I didn't realize that I had postpartum depression because I didn't know what that was, and I didn't know that I could get help for it. And mine wasn't ever, they talk about postpartum depression where women have this urge where they want to hurt their infant. Mine was completely different from that. Mine was like anxiety so bad that my anxiety was that somehow I was going to by accident hurt my son, or that I wouldn't watch him well enough and something would happen to him and I would lose him, and then obsessive thoughts would come in. What would I do without him? And you know, it's like I kept him. I was so nervous that something was going to happen to him that I would like not sleep. I would sit there at night and watch him sleep because I was afraid that he was going to die from SIDS or something like that. And it was, my anxiety level was just off the charts. And all through his growing up, I was anxious about every stage that he was in. When he started school, you know, my anxiety was irrational things. Like you know, the first week of kindergarten, I took him to school, and when I dropped him off, I had to physically watch him walk into the building. But then instead of driving home, I just sat out in my car and I waited for him to get done from school to watch him walk back out, because I was so afraid somebody was going to come and kidnap him. I mean, it's like irrational thoughts like that, you know. Your brain, when you have a brain disease like depression or anxiety or whatever it may be, your brain does not think rationally like a normal person. It's like people don't understand that depression and anxiety is a disease of the brain. It's just like if you were to have diabetes. Your brain is lacking certain chemicals, certain things don't, certain reactions are not happening naturally in your brain, and so you're having all these misfires. And I'm probably rambling, and I hope that I am making sense enough, but what I'm trying to get at is that the thing with Robbin Williams, the thing with people that take their lives, the thing with me being hospitalized because I had come up with a plan, and I was in therapy. I had been having suicidal thoughts again, and I had been having these suicidal ideations where I would fantasize about knives. It started with a knife, and then my fantasies turned to the gun that we had. My husband has a gun for our family's protection. He keeps a gun in the house, and I started having these ideations about the gun. I started fantasizing about the gun, and it scared the living daylights out of me because I didn't want to die. I did not want to die, yet I did not want to be on the earth anymore. I wanted the pain to stop. And that is really what it's about. It's not about what you have to live for. It's not about the fact that I have a wonderful husband and a beautiful, handsome, intelligent, I can't say enough, I'm his biggest fan, my son, who I would lay my life down for. Yes, I have wonderful things to live for and many blessings, just like Robbin Williams. They say, oh, he had fame, he had fortune, he had all these things. Why would he take his life? Suicide's not about that. It's not. The suicidal, depressed brain is no longer functioning like a normal brain. It is no longer thinking rationally. It is no longer thinking about even everyday tasks like, oh, I have to eat breakfast, oh, I have to eat lunch, I have to eat dinner, oh, I have to shower. It's not thinking that way. It is thinking, I can't function anymore. It's thinking, I have no energy to live, and I have no feelings inside. I'm numb inside, and I hate myself. The suicidal brain thinks, this is what the suicidal brain thinks: I'm a loser. I don't deserve to live. I have no energy to take care of myself, let alone anyone else. I'm a burden. My family has to worry about me. They have to worry about whether or not I'm doing okay today. The suicidal brain thinks, I just want the pain to stop. If the suicidal brain thinks, if the world really knew me, they would know I'm a phony, I'm a fake, I'm a loser. They would know I have no talent. They would know that I've been putting on an act for years. They would know who I really am, and they wouldn't like me. They would know the real me. That is how crazy, I hate the word crazy. That is how skewed the suicidal brain is. And it's because of the disease. And so I really, that's what I wanted to get across today, because a lot of people are like, oh, you know, they say people that take their lives are so selfish. Why would they do that? Why would they leave their loved ones like that? Why would they do something so selfish? They're not thinking about stuff like that. They're not. If they were thinking about that, they wouldn't do it. They love their loved ones. They would never want to hurt their loved ones. They would never want their loved ones to walk in and find them in a situation like Robbin Williams was found. They would never want that. In fact, that's the one thing that stopped me, is the fact that my husband was out of town, and the thought that the person that would end up finding me would be my 20-year-old son. And the fact that I thought, what in the world would that do to him for the rest of his life if he were to walk in and find his mother? I could not do that to him, and that is what stopped me. The other thing that stopped me, and I want people to know about this, is that with my doctor, I had filled out a form with my doctor and my husband because I had been having these thoughts. I was medicated, and I was seeing my doctor once a week. I say doctor, my counselor. I was seeing my counselor once a week, and I had permission to call him at any time if I felt like I was in trouble, if I felt like I was, if I felt like it was more than what I could handle and I needed help right then. I had a crisis number that I could call. If I felt like those feelings were more than I could handle, I could call the 1-800 number. But people that have depression, people that have suicidal thoughts, they need medication, they need counseling, they need family support, they need something that's called a safety plan. And this is what I have. This is what a safety plan looks like. You can't really see it. It's a piece of paper, and at the top of mine, and every doctor may have one that looks a little bit different, but at the top it says safety/crisis plan. It has my name and it has the date that I signed it. And then it has some instructions, okay? And some of these things may seem really bizarre because you think, oh, well, that should be common sense. But when you're not thinking rationally, it's not common sense. So it just goes through. It's number one, it says some tools/ideas I could use for managing my stress or symptoms are, and then I had to list those things, which was to come to the crisis center or to call the crisis line, and to utilize certain tools that I had learned in counseling, which for me was like safe place and container, which is not going to mean anything to you. But second thing, it says some stressors I encounter at home are, and I would list what my stressors were. It's important to know what your stressors are so that if you're in a depressed mode, you can remove those, okay? 3, the warning symptoms of my illness are, and then you would list what the warning signs were. For me, depression, anger, feeling overwhelmed at home, loneliness, intolerance, meaning being intolerant of myself and my actions. Number 4, support people I can contact, family, friend, clergy. And I had to list people that I could contact when I was feeling in crisis, people that I could call and talk to and say, I'm in a bad place, and I would have to call them and let them know, you know, or ask them, can you be a contact person for me? And then 5, what will I do if I have problems with my medication? So if you are having problems managing your medication, or if you feel like your medication is not working, what are you going to do? 6, who are my mental health providers? I would list them and their phone numbers. 7, what will I do if I feel suicidal, self-destructive, or out of control? And then I would list what those things are, and the phone numbers would be listed. And then at the bottom is the crisis line for the county that I was in, and also call 911 for help. And then I had to sign and date this. My husband had to sign and date it, and my therapist had to sign and date it. And then we each got a copy of that. And it's really important to have a plan, because once you're in that situation, you have to know what you're going to do to basically save your life. And so when I found myself in that situation, and my husband was out of town, and my son was there, and I had come up with a plan of what I was going to do, and I had the resources available to do it, and I realized my son was going to be the one that would find me. That's when I went to my safety plan, and I called my son down, and I told him what was going on, and he had no idea that I had ever had any suicidal thoughts. He knew I dealt with depression, but he knew that from the time he was little, but he never knew that I had ever dealt with these thoughts. And I had to explain to him that I was in that place, and that I needed to go to the hospital. And that's what saved my life. That is completely what saved my life. I'll say that the hospital is not a fun place to be. You would think that to go to a psych ward, they would, you know, try to make you as comfortable as possible. That's not necessarily the case, but they make sure that you're safe. And they, in my case, the hospital that I went to, I felt like they gave me so many tools to help manage my disease. It's a big deal for me to come out and say that I went to the hospital. And initially I thought, you know, the thought is, well, you're going to be there for at least 3 days. That's what people think, you know, when you go for the reason that I went, you think they're going to hold you for at least 3 days. In my case, they kept me for a longer period of time because that's what they thought I needed. But it is what it is. It's suicide is a serious thing. It's a disease of the brain. It's a real thing. My heart goes out to Robbin Williams' family. I've lost friends to suicide, very close friends, and I just really, really hope that we as a nation take a look at this and decide to do some more research. And the mental health system is so lacking in new science to help people. There are so many people that deal with this that don't talk about it. It's like a big secret, and it's really a tragedy that it is a big secret, because we're losing people, and we shouldn't be losing people to this. This video is going to be long, I know, and I don't know what I can do to help other people other than to tell my story. My story goes a lot deeper than depression and suicide, or suicidal ideations. I worry every day that they'll come back. I'm on a good medication plan. I'm in a new place, so I have to find a new doctor. So that's kind of my priority right now. But I want people to be able to talk about it. I don't want it to be a secret. I don't necessarily want to wear a t-shirt that tells everybody about it, but I want it to have a face, and I want to be a resource for people to speak out and to help others and to stop unnecessary losses. Anyway, I don't know if I'll do more videos on this. I certainly have a whole lot more. My story goes there's like a whole lot more that goes along with my story and my struggle, but that would be like a book, and I don't know if anybody would want to read it, but anyway, I hope this video helps. I hope it's not just overbearing and depressing. I don't know. I'm gonna watch it. If it's just too much, it might not even make it on my channel. If it does, I hope it helps somebody. I just want everyone to know that if you struggle with this, or if you know someone who does, my prayers are with you. My heart hurts with you. But I can tell you that with doctors, with medication, and with prayer, you can make it through it. I believe that, and I believe in miracles. I've seen them in my life, and they've saved my life. Anyway, that's the heaviness for the day. Rest in peace, Robbin Williams, and to all those others whose lives have been touched in the same way that that his and his families have. So anyway, bye for today, guys.